Welcome to this episode of Living by the Mantras, Common Sense Wisdom for an Extraordinary Life, based on my book by the same title, Living by the Mantras, Common Sense Wisdom for an Extraordinary Life, where we cover 21 different mantras or sayings, quotes, verses that really are tied to core values, core concepts of what make us a better person, mindset shifts that help us become who we really want to be. And currently we are on the mantra, I can't yet. And it's about overcoming obstacles. That's a value it ties itself to, overcoming obstacles. I can't yet. And as I have shared in the other episodes on this mantra, if you're just tuning in, it's really about understanding that we can't say, I'm going to step back. I never allowed my kids to say I can't unless they added the word yet at the end. When I taught my students for years as a classroom teacher, it was the same thing. I can't do this. They had to say yet. And in life, it's a mindset shift when we add that yet to the end of a phrase, when we're frustrated and we feel like there's something we're not able to accomplish, some task we can't finish, some goal we're having trouble achieving. Because to say that we can't do it all together is to say that we can't grow and change. But to have a growth mindset is to say, yet, I'm going to get there. And we've talked about a lot of different elements about having that growth mindset in this series on I can't yet. And today we're going to wrap it up with just talking about how important struggle is. How important struggle is, the importance of struggle, because we all want life to be simple and happy and easy. It's really nice when we can frolic through the tulips and everything. And it's very important to have phases of life that feel like they are less of a struggle. But the truth is, that's not going to happen all the time. And we have to accept the inevitable. The inevitable is that life is going to be a struggle. It doesn't mean that we have to give in to the struggle. It doesn't mean that we have to allow it to overcome us, but we have to accept that it's going to exist, because really in anything in life, there's a level of acceptance that comes first so that we can move to whatever it is we need to move to. And so it's the primary driver for growth is struggle. It really is. And sometimes struggle can be immense. Sometimes struggle can be grand. It can be something that's beyond what we think we can handle. And other times they're speed bumps. They really are. But they're nonetheless irritating or annoying or aggravating, but they are necessary for growth. So accepting the inevitable. Struggle is going to happen at some level in every part of our life. Once again, the mindset is how we overcome it and don't allow the obstacle that comes in front of us to stop us, because it really doesn't have to. It allows for our brain to grow because we have to problem solve. Think about that. You got to come up with a solution. You're problem solving. You're thinking through it. It develops what I call grit. And that is a toughness of spirit, a toughness of body, a toughness of mind, because you got to have a little bit of it. Life is not going to be easy all the time. We're not going to agree with people all the time. We're going to have that person at work. We're going to have that person in our family. We're going to have that friend we love dearly who's rubbing up against us about some issue or some ideal. And it develops grit to grow stronger in how you handle that. And when we develop mastery, when we overcome it, the strength that we can take in, the confidence that builds, the ability for us to see that we can move to the next struggle and the next obstacle and overcome it is just so important. And one of the things that I'm going to ask is, we all can think of somebody, we can all think of somebody who's had everything given to them. We know who that person is. Maybe it was someone you grew up with that was just that. We like to call them the spoiled brat, the precious princess, the crown prince, whatever you want to call them. That person that, mommy made sure that nothing ever went wrong. And when they really, really wanted something, they didn't have to work for it. They just got it. They were given it, whether it be a material object or assistance to do better in school, or, I have to do this project and mom, and so much work, and mom sits down and gets 90% of it done for the kid. And that kid gets a good grade, but did they really work hard to achieve it? We all have known that person that has been given everything. Now, I spend a lot of time in my book. If you haven't read it, and I really highly encourage you to go out to Amazon or anywhere you can buy books and buy Living by the Mantras. I've used my family as a metaphor throughout the book. It's not about parenting, but parenting is such a great place to take a look at how we develop values and how we live out our mindsets. And we were always considered so very tough on our children. It was hard because there were so many parents around us who really thought that the best thing in the whole wide world was to give their kids everything. And the truth is, we loved our kids beyond measure. And if they are listening to this, they'll nod their heads and tell you that we made them work for it. We loved them. They never doubted they were loved. We provided a safety net. They never felt scared to try, but we surely didn't just give them everything. But we gave them the tools to work hard and achieve it, because we didn't want them to be that pampered princess or that crown prince or that person who expected into adult life that everything would just be given to them. Because that's the person who doesn't learn that struggle is going to happen, and that the importance of struggling is to grow stronger. I'm a great example, and so I'm going to share it. Anytime opportunity arises, new opportunities, promotion at work, something that you could do with your family, a vacation opportunity, a move, to a better home. Oh gosh, the opportunity is there to move to a bigger, better home, one that suits your family better. The opportunity to meet with a new group of people. I don't know, you name what it is, to drive a better car, whatever it is. The opportunity will arise, but something has got to be sacrificed and changed typically to make those things happen. And Brian and Colleen Souza are going through that right now. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that struggle. We are selling a home that we spent the last 5 years rebuilding from the ground up. And we lived in the home prior to this one that we currently live in for over 17 years. And we loved that home very much. The opportunity came to buy this old farmhouse in the country and on a couple of acres, something that my husband had always wanted to live on. My youngest daughter, who was still at home, wanted to also live on. And it required a lot of work. And so we poured our hearts and souls into this property over the last 4 to 5 years and turned it into something truly beautiful. We've turned it into something truly beautiful. But life circumstances change, and the opportunity to be closer to our kids, be more mobile and flexible in our scheduling, first and foremost by selling this property, really entered our sphere about 6 months ago. And the truth is, it's exciting opportunity. It's exciting change. It's going to mean a lot of really great and wonderful opportunities for Brian and Colleen, for our 3 kids, because of the time that will be more flexible time scheduling to spend with them. It means leaving our real estate careers. It means pursuing stuff in this whole world of media and sort of semi-retirement. But with that opportunity comes struggle. Struggle in just preparing our home for market. We're perfectionists, and we've done this for a living. And even though it's beautiful, it had to be perfect, right? And we wanted it to be just right. So there was a couple of months of just the busyness as we are working hard on our real estate business, and we're working hard as I published the book and it's starting the podcast, and we're getting new things rolling to take the physical time to prepare the property. And then prep for what our life looks like now that we're in this whole phase of home on the market, getting the home sold, having showings, not wanting dirty socks to be on the floor or anything else, not having dishes in the sink, living this life that sort of is postcard perfect, causes a little bit of struggle at times. But then at the same time, we know that at any moment the home could sell, and we have to be prepared to jump into our future. And our future for Brian and Colleen right now is complete shift and change in what we've been doing for a living for the last 20 years. And so we've been in the process of preparing for that. And there are obstacles, and there are challenges, and there are struggles. Planning for the unexpected, because we don't know how quickly it will sell or what might come across our way, what to leave behind. And this world that we live in, we've developed this beautiful home with beautiful furniture and beautiful fixtures and beautiful art on the walls and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you begin to look at it, and you have this new challenge or struggle. What do I keep? What do I leave behind? What do I give to the new homeowner because it was built to fit this home, versus what do I save and take with me because it's special? And then there's the tamping down of the constant anxiety because so much change is happening at one time. Okay. Comes back to struggle is inevitable. And I can drown myself in that. Brian can drown himself in it. And don't get me wrong, there are better days than others. There have been some days, maybe you can all relate to this, when you're in the midst of transition where you are so excited and you're embracing the future. There are days that just seem like normal days, and there are days where everything feels so heavy and there's so much and there's an anxiety that goes with it. And you just have to have a new mindset, that your possibilities that lie ahead of you are worthwhile, so you find a way to fit the time in to do what you need to do. You have the conversations with yourself to trust your choices. You have the faith that things are going to happen. It's not the first time I've made this change. And so I want to share that, because as I talk about what's necessary, as I talk about struggle being inevitable and the fact that you can't overcome it with that yet in your mind, the same thing happened about 15 years ago when I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. I excelled at it. I won awards for it. I was the person in our school district, the entire district of lots of schools, that people came to about technology immersion, because I'd been doing it since the very beginning of technology entering our school district, almost 20 years prior, when I joined in the classroom and started special technology programs for the district. I was a teacher who had some of the highest scores in the district at the time, and the way that we were testing kids, yet I had all these kids that were coming out of my classroom just with a lot of success. So as I left teaching, it was pretty rough, because I was leading something I was darn good at, something that I had a gift at, a connection with kids. I was leading a peer counseling program, and I had students earn over $20,000 working on a fundraising project over a couple of years. And it had spread district-wide. It wasn't just at our school site anymore. All these wonderful things going on. And yet I was choosing to step away from that success, step away from that comfort, because I saw different opportunity ahead of me, an opportunity to work alongside my husband and to build a business with him, because he was maxed at what he could do by himself. And it was time for him to bring a partner on board. At that same time, I had to change it was all kinds of potential struggle. I was used to a schedule that I had worked for 20 years. I mean, being a classroom teacher, you're just an overgrown student, and you have your first period, second period, third period, you have your lunch break, you have whatever. I had those things every day. My schedule was so set, summer breaks and all those different kinds of things that became a routine in my life. I had to leave behind the predictability of knowing what my days would look like. Very set as a classroom teacher. From when I got up in the morning to when I was grading my papers, when I went to bed at night, my schedule was so incredibly predictable. I had watched and observed my husband from afar, and there was nothing predictable about his schedule as a realtor. And I can attest to the fact that there has never been anything predictable about my schedule in real estate. I had the skills, okay? I had friends that from different school sites around our district, that the parents of these kids that I had gotten to know over the years, that had become friends. I had these relationships in my life, and I knew that it would be a change, and the change would cause for struggle, because I'd have to start building those relationships again, learning how to develop new routines, learning new skills. And oh my goodness, it's really hard, especially when it's your life partner and best friend who you have to look at and go, I don't know what to do next. When I was the one everyone came to when they didn't know what to do. So I went through it once, and guess what? That struggle, that inevitable struggle, but believing in the yet, believing I could get through it. Now I'm an award-winning realtor. Brian and I have been top sales. We've been what are called icon agents in our company. Mentor Realtor of the Year for eXp Realty, which is a large international company that we hang our hat at. I've had great success. I have developed ridiculously wonderful relationships with our clients who've become like family. But there was struggle. The struggle in that I had to learn all those new skills. I throw this at you because it's hard. In business, they call it risk. They have risk management divisions in businesses, and risk management, they have to decide, is an investment worth the risk? Is an expense they're going to take on worth it? Is it going to help the business grow? There is risk and there is struggle in anything that's going to help us get bigger or better, grow deeper, grow stronger, get more fit. Oh, physical fitness, there's a risk. There's a risk. You have to get out there. And for me, as I have been working really hard on this in my own personal life over the last 6 months to a year, to exercise in a class with other people when I feel so awkward and out of place, to tell myself I can do this, to make it through a day with less food or an altered diet, to try new things that I may or may not want to eat, to do all the things that are involved, to push myself till my body physically hurts a little bit. Those are all a level of risk, but the payoff on the backside is so worth it that it's something that you take on. And it's a speed bump you make yourself roll over, and you accept the inevitable that there will be an important, valuable struggle involved. Building your self-awareness, strengthening your beliefs. Anytime we're challenged about something and we come out the other side, we have such a better vision, understanding, and belief about who we are, what it is we're trying to accomplish, and it makes us better. I have to throw out there the metamorphosis. There's another word that I think really ties into the importance of struggle. The yet, living in the yet, and that's the metamorphosis. We all know that tail of a butterfly, right? That it comes in a big, chunky, happy caterpillar, okay? And then it disappears inside a cocoon, which is this little pod that it wraps itself up in, and it lives in there for a period of time, and then really has to struggle as it breaks out of that little cocoon it makes, but then has beautiful wings and it can fly and add a lot of beauty to the world around it and pollinate flowers and have such a benefit, going from being something that eats the plants and flowers to something that metamorphoses into, metamorphosis, is that a word? Metamorphize into something beautiful that pollinates flowers and adds beauty to the world. And it's the process, the inevitable process of struggle that helps it get there. Okay, you can't help a butterfly come out of its cocoon or it won't be strong enough to fly. You can't help a baby bird break out of its little egg, otherwise it won't have the strength to lean its little beak out and feed itself. You have to allow those processes. Now with our kids, with our employees, with our team members, with the people that we love, it's really hard to observe struggle. It's really hard to watch that happen, because we want to make it easier for them, but we don't want to create that little pretty princess or that crown prince that don't have the strength that it's going to take, because it's so important to struggle. I reflect back to one of my kids, one of my 3 kids, my youngest, Grace. Grace played soccer. She started playing soccer. I love to tell the story over and over again. I will through the podcast. My older 2 kids were involved in aquatics. They were involved in swimming and water polo. And I had just become very used to, as a parent, being around the smell of chlorine and around the pool year round, because if they're involved in swimming and water polo, it's pretty much a year round activity. But that was sort of had become our life. And little Squirt came along and she would jump in the pool. I have stories of her just disappearing over the edge of the pool. And the high school boys thought it was so funny because she is 12 years younger than her older brother, to have her jump in the pool and they would catch her. And so I thought, well, she's going to be a natural player. She's going to be a water polo player and she'll be really good at it because she's around it all the time. But my little Squirt wanted to play soccer. And I grew up playing soccer, and you have the old soccer mom story, and I didn't want to be a soccer mom, but she was good at it. She was good at it. And so she took a very quick path from just being one season of the little school league to trying out for a club, to progressing her way to a national premier team. And we were playing all the time. And my daughter wasn't just a player on the field. She wanted to be the keeper. She wanted to block the goals. And that's very stressful. As I'm recording this, the World Cup is happening across our country right now. And boy, I love watching it because soccer became our life for many, many years with Gracie. But I just have so much compassion for the keepers, the goalkeepers, because being the parent of the keeper, it's a rough thing. So our daughter, she was phenomenal and she did a great job, but there came a point, and COVID was a part of that. The team was now having to travel further, do more. Our club was having changes in coaching, and she really liked her old coach. And so she finally came to that season where she said, I'm not sure I want to keep playing. And we asked her this very important question: do you think you want to play in college? Because if you want to play in college, you need to stay on this team. And she made the decision as a sophomore, into her sophomore year of high school, going into her junior and senior year, that what she wanted to do was not play in college and to go to college for college. And so she made the decision to leave soccer. I remember her tearfully making that decision, and she is not a crier at all. Gracie, if you're listening to this, you're my tough little monkey. But she was in tears, and she said, Mom, the only reason that I'm afraid to stop is that if I'm not a soccer player, who am I? She had learned to identify so much with that being such a part of her life, because she was literally at it 5 to 6 days a week in different trainings and traveling, and it was crazy. And so she had to go through the inevitable struggle, the metamorphosis. And what came out of that, by the way, was a beautiful young lady who has a passion for so many things. She is excelling in college. The crazy is she went from being a very tough soccer goalie to a sorority girl. So she experimented on the other far side of that and discovered within herself this girly girl that she didn't know was there. And it's been hilarious from a perspective of a parent to see such a change in her. But also, she's getting a construction engineering degree. She'll be done this next year. And it's a tough, male-driven culture that she is in, and she's prepared for it. And we've talked about it many times. Part of that strength that she found as she struggled through that was all the skills and being strong and being able to take the hits that she took in soccer, and the discipline that that sport brought into her life has allowed her to find strength and head through the struggle of re-identifying who she is and going through that metamorphosis and coming out on the other side. And it's beautiful. Butterflies are beautiful. Metamorphosis is beautiful. My daughter's beautiful. That process that makes us stronger is beautiful. So as we wrap up this series, to wrap this up, possibility thinking is critical. Overcoming obstacles is critical. Having a mindset that allows for you to give yourself a break when it's tough, but not give up, is important. We used I can't ... yet as an important phrase, a mantra in our home. I used it in my classroom. We've used it in our business to remind ourselves that we can overcome our obstacles. Maybe that mantra works for you. Maybe there's another one that will work for you even better. Create your own. But remember that you can do what you set your heart to, that nothing needs to stop you no matter how much struggle comes along, and you can overcome your obstacles. If you are enjoying this podcast, if you are finding some of the stuff that you're hearing valuable to you, I really encourage you to like it, subscribe, leave a message. We are growing and changing every day, as I shared with you. We have great, exciting things to come in the future with Mantras Media, which is my publishing company that published the book, all the things that we're doing. I encourage you to go out and buy Living by the Mantras, Common Sense Wisdom for an Extraordinary Life, so you can put some of those foundational principles, values, and common sense wisdom into your life. We'd love for you to tune in. Come back here to the channel. Share this with somebody who might enjoy it. And if you have a mantra that works or a story, please leave it down below. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.